So what I mean by that is going in your community bank and introducing yourself and saying, I'm not at the point where I need a line of credit for inventory or for capital improvements, but I might someday. And I'd love to
Hmm.
know who you are and tell you about who I am. And I think you could extrapolate that for any other aspect of running your business. So
Yeah.
relationships come easy on the mission side, but you might
Hmm.
not realize how critically important they will be on all of these more technical
Yes.
sides. And I learned that as I went, and I would impart that on other folks. So don't hesitate to put yourself out there.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Blueprint. I'm Courtney Cook, founder of Monarch COO, where I help mission-driven entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Each week, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs to explore the stories behind their successes and challenges. Whether you're just dreaming of starting a business or already building one, this podcast is here to show you that entrepreneurship is more attainable than it might seem, with insights for every stage of the journey. Let's dive in to today's conversation and see what it takes to build a business. Today on the podcast, I have Sarah Wells with me, and I'm so excited to talk to her and hear more about her story because the product she offers is something that I feel very passionate about and excited about as a mom myself. So, Sarah, will you kick us off by sharing more about your business? What do you do? Who do you serve? And how long have you been a business owner?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here today. I can't wait to talk about it. This is my favorite topic.
Yay.
So I have 13 years in business. We make bags and apparel for new moms, particularly in the breastfeeding space. So breast pump bags, cooler bags, wet dry bags, nursing and pumping bras, all the things that you need in that breastfeeding journey postpartum, particularly as it relates to going back to work. And that's really how it all started for me because I now have a 14-year-old freshman in high school. But when she was born, I'm here in the Washington, D.C. area, and I was
Okay.
working in the nonprofit sector, going up to meetings on Capitol Hill and doing a lot of work travel, and also trying to balance that with being a first time mom who was an
Yeah.
exclusively pumping mom and needed to have all the breast pump parts clean and ready
Hmm.
at any time and transport all of that milk from different places across the country to different meetings around DC. And I was schlepping
Yeah.
3, 4 bags at a time and
Hmm.
couldn't find a functional way. But I also, there was this part, and I know we'll dive into this more, but this part of it that I lost a little dignity in that too, not
Hmm.
feeling like anything that was available to support me as a breastfeeding working mom was really professional looking or even just sort of fun or aesthetic in a way that made me feel good and like put together as I went to the office every day. So there's a lot to creating a business, but that was really the catalyst for why I ended up starting this brand.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate with all of that, and especially the dignity piece of like, man, just give me something here. But it wasn't available for my first either when I needed it. So tell me more about like eh, what was the process when you were like, okay, this is a problem, I'm gonna fix it. Like now what?
Absolutely. So I was leading these nonprofits. I had a degree in policy. I was championing these big healthcare issues, but I had total imposter syndrome about the idea of starting a business, even though I was a very entrepreneurial type person. Even those of us
Mhm.
who were in the nonprofit sector, we raise money, we work with membership programs. There's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in the nonprofit sector. But
Yeah.
I thought starting a product business, like, there's no way I can do that. And so I just was kind of almost even joking about it with friends and family. And it just so happened I was in a new moms group, really a big believer in that it takes a village component, and found an
Mhm.
amazing new moms group. And being in the Washington, D.C. area, one of the really cool things is you have some of the most amazing, accomplished professional women here.
Oh, I
And
bet.
turns out that one of the moms in my new moms group actually knew a lot about small business and was working on Capitol Hill in the area of small business development and growth and said,
Mm.
Sarah, you have this incredible idea. You're always joking about how bad it is for breastfeeding working moms. Do something about it. You have
Yeah.
the idea. I think the market is there. And let me equip you with some of the resources and tools to get started. So I got
Yeah.
a mentor through the SCORE program, which has been instrumental in my success. I went to all my Virginia small business development resource centers. I did all the reading. I took a virtual handbag design class. I'm in public
Oh,
policy.
cool.
I knew nothing about like the components of creating a breast pump bag, none of that. And so I did about 2 years of research, fact finding, getting all these pieces in place, and mentoring that got me to a point where I said, I think I could really order this product, this design that I have, and get it to
Mhm.
market.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. How you just had the community that you needed right away to make that next step forward. That's amazing. So, what's been kind of one of the most unexpected challenges that you've approached as going from policy to then or here in nonprofit all the way over to owning a product company? Like what's been something really unexpected for you?
So I would actually say it's a pleasant surprise. I
Mhm.
was skeptical in the beginning and talked about this with my SCORE mentor all the time, that I was really worried. You come to the nonprofit sector maybe sometimes with a little bit of a bias about for-profit
Yeah.
companies. You're looking to them
Mhm.
for fundraising or sponsorship, but you think of yourself as this really mission-driven cause separate from the for-profit world. And
Yeah.
so making the leap to business products, I remember a conversation with my mentor where I said, I'm nervous about this. I never saw myself as anything but an advocate, as the nonprofit sector. How will I be mission driven in a
Mhm.
business? And she had total confidence and said, it will be your new platform. If
Mhm.
you want it to be mission driven, you'll find a way to do that. And I think that that's the biggest pleasant surprise for me is I really thought it would be a challenge to merge business with mission, and it couldn't be further from the truth. So the whole 13 years plus that I've been in business, we've been able to serve the community through donations of money, donations of time, donations of product. I'll give you one really amazing example I'm proud of. During the pandemic, we heard about a group of researchers in Maryland that were repurposing the motors on breast pumps, reverse engineering them to actually power up COVID ventilators. If you remember, there was a
Oh,
huge shortage in the hospitals of those ventilators. And so we put out a
wow.
call to all the moms in our community across the US who were done with their pumps, and we paid for them to ship those back into us. A member of my team stood in her garage and
Wow.
sanitized hundreds of breast pumps, and then we delivered them to those researchers. And so we have always
Wow.
found a way to be responsive to a crisis or to be proactive for a really cool initiative in the community. And really, I've never stopped being an advocate. I've been able to use this, frankly, as a really broad platform to keep moving the things I care about for supporting women, for supporting working moms, for supporting healthcare the whole way through. And that has been, I'm so glad my mentor believed in me in that way and
Yeah.
showed me there was a path. And so,
Right.
one of the things that's been really important to me as I'm now a little more senior entrepreneur, getting into my
Yeah.
second decade, is helping other small businesses see that whether it's really small, like funding the little league in your town, or something really big like being a champion in public policy, that there's a role for being mission based in every business capacity.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Not to mention just your business itself, like outside of what you're doing as like the extracurricular portion, just your business itself, like the whole end-to-end piece of it is mission driven. So was there a point along the road here where you were like, "Okay, I think I've got a business here. I think this is going to work."
Yeah, so it was about the end of the first year or so. So I started in November, and it was around the next holiday season that I felt like this is going to be it. So I had some misses in that first year. So
Yeah,
I had this
naturally.
idea, like brilliant product. I'm totally confident of it. Everyone I talk to says it's great. I put up the beautiful website. I was ready to go. Crickets. So I
Yeah.
learned really quickly, and keep in mind context. This is 13ish years ago. Facebook Live had not even been introduced, let alone like there was no Instagram. There was no social media wasn't used in this way for business
Right.
marketing yet. So driving traffic to a brand new product category that no one had ever heard of, didn't know existed, was really hard to do without, huge ad dollars that I didn't have. It was all self-funded. I didn't have outside
Mhm.
investors. So one thing I did is I was real quick to pull that website down mostly and put up a little button to send customers to Amazon who had just really kind of started bringing in independent sellers and gotten out of books only and starting to sell
Okay.
all their
Yeah.
products. And so I thought, I'm going to, this Amazon, I'm going to try this Amazon. So I sent in some of my initial breast pump bags to Amazon, and turns out moms were going to Amazon and typing in the box a
Mm-hmm.
bag for my breast pump. And
Yep.
so that became like the product search engine. And I was the only breastfeeding product on Amazon when I did that,
Crazy.
like the only
Crazy.
one in the whole space. And so it was an amazing, quick way to meet those customers. And after a good year, plus some early social media influencers, that next year Facebook Live came out, I started getting some
Mm.
coverage from people who were well known in the baby space, and it just took off. So I had a good year of quiet crickets. I have to tell you, I had this fun thing in my office. This was at the
Yeah.
like peak of HGTV and everybody doing all the home trends. And at the
Yes.
time, the really popular thing was chalkboard paint on your wall.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I painted a chalkboard on my office wall, and I had a big sidewalk chalk. And every time I sold a bag, I'd make a little hash mark. And so
Love
over the
that.
course of a year, it was like, I got to 10, I got to 15. I remember getting to 60 bags sold
Yeah.
and thinking, I have made it. And then that holiday season, that second year, it was so big, I couldn't possibly ever put it on the
Oh,
chalkboard. And I
yeah.
remember just like putting a big heart on the chalkboard and saying, I'm
Mm,
done with the chalkboard. I've made it.
yeah. Oh, what a milestone. And what a physical, like tangible way to track that and see that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's a great content right there, too. Here's a picture. Like, I can't fit it on anymore. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what made motivates you to keep going when things feel, there's ups and downs, there's the highs are high and the lows are low. And when the lows are low, what keeps you going?
Yeah, so I think it's exactly what we were talking about. I just go back to mission.
Mhm.
2025 has been, in the 13 years in business, the absolute hardest, harder than the beginning. It's been
Yeah.
a really tough year of high costs as a business,
Mhm.
struggle to get inventory from abroad, consumers that are like very concerned about spending. It's been a heavy year for small businesses, including mine. And so this has been one where I've had to reach real deep back
Mhm.
into why I do what I do. And frankly, I've built up such an amazing community of customers that even when I'm feeling a bit down, I don't hesitate to kind of put it back out at them and say,
Yeah.
am I doing okay?
Yeah.
Like, do you
Yeah.
think we're still serving you with products that you love? What more do you want to see from us? And I have to tell you, like, I am always there to lift them up. And I feel like they come right back around to tell me
Mhm.
how we're making a difference, how it mattered to their breastfeeding journey, how it matters to just their motherhood experience. I was actually had a little like exhibit booth at a community event last weekend, and I was standing there and showing my products. And this mom walked up and she had an infant in the stroller and a toddler like chasing circles, running circles
Around
around
her.
her.
Yeah.
And she came up, and I thought she was about to ask me about, which bag would be right for me. And she said to me, I have a very odd off topic question, but I just want to throw this to you. Am I doing a good job?
Oh.
I don't feel like I'm like present in the moment. I don't feel like I'm living up to my mom expectations for myself.
Mhm.
I just need somebody to talk to about this. And we had this I don't know this person at all. We had this
Yeah.
incredible conversation. And I said, you showed up to a community event with these two little kids and you're
Yeah.
all put together and you're coming here and you're also asking for like help, even if it's from a stranger, just saying like, I'm
Mhm.
struggling. You're
Yeah.
totally doing the thing.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, there filled my cup, right? This
Mhm.
whole week I've been living off of that one conversation, because even if business is really tough, like to be there in those moments for moms every day, there are new moms
Mhm.
that are asking those same questions, having those same struggles, and
Yeah.
just being a listening ear or relating to them. Or now I feel like that I have a teenager, I have a little wisdom I can
Mhm.
share looking back is everything to me. So I think going back to mission and like my purpose and why I care about this company so much is what gets me through the tougher times.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, did you as a child, like, were you, selling lemonade for $5 a cup? Or did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I always had a side hustle. Always had a
Yeah,
side hustle.
I
So
could see it.
I have two younger sisters. I'm the oldest of three girls.
Nice.
And my sisters would tell you that not only did I have a side hustle, but I was always doing some level of manipulation to bring them into it, even if they didn't want to. So my
Amazing.
proudest, I had the lemonade stands, but my proudest achievement was actually I was trying to build up a fund because I really wanted a cat. And I was, I believe, told if I could afford it, I could get it. And so I developed this elaborate, maybe this is my early membership nonprofit structure. I developed this elaborate membership program wherein both my sisters had to pay dues on a weekly basis to be a part of
Gosh.
my program.
You were
And
ahead
so
of the
then,
time.
yeah, so then I had, right, exactly. And then I amassed those dues and then got that cat that I wanted. So I don't know how happy my sisters were about that, or later realized what they were really doing,
Yeah,
just giving me all their money.
right. They were
But yes,
little.
I I always had some kind of side hustle.
That's amazing. You're like they had, they probably didn't even understand the value of a dollar yet.
I
But they
know,
were you
I
were like,
know.
"No, you should give this to me."
Yes, I was good, right? I was a good
Yes.
politician in that regard and getting them
Yes.
behind my cause. And I
That's
also
so
just have to
funny.
put a plug in. I have two incredible parents who, my father is actually a retired Episcopal priest, and
Oh,
my mother
cool.
was the executive director of a nonprofit that helped families that were going through substance abuse. And so I grew up
Oh
in
my
this
gosh.
family of incredible, she also was mayor of our town, incredible
Wow.
do-gooders, public
Yeah.
servants, community members that really imparted on my sisters and I that mission, again, isn't just, it's not just about business or selling a service, but it's
Mhm.
about raising up the community that you're in. So, I
Yeah.
really am proud to have come from a family that really instilled that in me. And I think that's been a part of even the business part of this the whole way through.
Yeah, amazing. And your dad's experience, I mean, I've talked to somebody else, I can't remember which one on the podcast, maybe it was also, um, the child of a preacher. I can't I can't remember, but
Yeah.
basically that's a CEO also,
Mhm.
to help to make this church function as a unit is you're ministering to your congregation. But like there's just so much involved in that. And then the fact that your mom was a mayor is so cool. Like
I
good for
know.
her.
I learned from my dad what it really takes to hear people. I was always in awe of him. So they have this thing, maybe other churches do this too, but this was a thing in our
Yeah.
church where at the end of the service, my dad would stand at the back exit and he would
Yep.
shake everybody's hand as they went out. And I would,
Mhm.
as a kid, stand next to him and I
Oh.
would watch how he like looked at people in the eye. He
Oh
remembered
my
everything
gosh.
about their life story. He knew the
Yeah.
questions to ask, and he really was a expert at making people in that 15 seconds, one
Yeah.
minute that he has at the door with all of like hundreds of people, each one of
Mhm.
them feels special and unique and feel heard. And I think
Mm.
that that's like been one of the biggest gifts that I've gained and been able to use through both my nonprofits and in this business is just how to really, again, provide that support of just listening
Yeah.
and empathy and
Mhm.
sometimes just remembering really
Yeah.
gives people that input that they need.
Yeah, the relationship building definitely, I can tell, impacted you in really great ways that it is so important. It's so important to get things done in this world. It's so important to just like humanize all of us. There's so much more than what meets the eye. And the way that you're kind of building your life around all of that and the foundation you were provided is so inspirational. A gift for me on this Friday. I'm like, oh, I feel so inspired. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. And I also just would add, it's good for business. And
It
I just
is.
actually recently did a presentation on this. Like, you don't have to be afraid as an entrepreneur to think like
Mhm.
that. It's
Right.
okay. Mission, and one of the things I find entrepreneurs are actually not the best at is those that are really mission driven tend to
Mhm.
not tell people about their mission.
Yep. You're
They
right.
forget, they think it maybe somehow diminishes the
Mhm.
charitable work or the good work they're doing to toot their horn about it. People
Mhm.
want to hear that,
Yeah.
especially if people are going through a tough time or feeling that the world is heavy. They want to
Mhm.
know that the brands that they support, the products that they buy are going back to doing things that make them feel great about where they spend their dollars. I think you
Yeah.
should talk about that. I think you should make it front and center. So that's, one of my biggest pieces of advice to other entrepreneurs is have a mission, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And really kind of everybody does. You just might not realize how that
Yeah.
ties back to your business, but make sure
Yeah.
you talk about it and communicate that to your customer base.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So, what are your goals for the next 12 months? You can kind of, if it's easier to bucket it through the end of the year or just simply the next 12 months, what's kind of on your horizon?
Yeah. So I think there's some harder things and some fun things. The harder things, as a lot of small businesses, again, right now, it's survival.
Mhm.
I'll tell you, I've probably pivoted 10 times in 13 years, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's pandemics, economic issues, inventory issues, supply chain, whatever the thing is, you
Mhm.
got to just like reevaluate everything. So my team and I are doing a lot of inner soul searching about how we do the work that we do. So I think that's hard. So we're going to be
Mhm.
continuing to do that hard work and hopefully coming out even better and stronger on the other side of that.
Yeah.
On the fun side of it, I think just continuing to think about how, like, what's the next mission activity? Like, what else can I do? Last year, I wrote a book. This year
Oh,
I've been
cool.
doing a lot of media for and support for small business. What's the next thing that I'm always looking for, really to the community of moms, like what is it that you need that I could
Yeah.
be out there being a champion for? And then on the entrepreneurial technical side, to be honest with you, I'm really excited about AI. We've been using it
Mhm.
a lot more within our company. And as someone that is mission driven, I've been talking to a lot of folks about how I think for especially really small businesses, it can be a real way to level the playing
Yeah.
field. And I'm really
100%.
excited to keep figuring out how we're going to use that and also help other small businesses. They can't
Yeah.
afford a CFO, how they can get in
Right.
there and use AI to build their brands.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It really levels the playing field in really big ways. It'll be fascinating just even I feel like the last year with it has been interesting to watch things transition and the next year I'm sure it will be even crazier. So, how do you balance the demands of running a business with your personal life? You're a mom, you have a family. So, what does that look like for you?
Absolutely. So first of all, I'm just have to say they get all the kudos for giving me the grace. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm here
Mhm.
on this podcast. I have a sick kid in the other room, and I have a little paper I put on the wall outside that says "Mom's recording." They have to be supportive of me
Yes.
too and flexible. So it's like a
Mhm.
two-way thing. It's not just me, but it's everybody kind of
Yeah.
understanding the give and take. I would say I'm a really good compartmentalizer. I am a
Mhm.
believer that you can do it all, but
Yeah.
I am not a believer that you can like do it all 150% at the same time.
Yes.
So yesterday I had the day off. I focused it exclusively on my kids. We took a brain break. All three of us needed it. We
Yeah.
really poured into that. And then today I'm back into work full force. So the kids have to have
Mhm.
a little give and take on that too. So I
Yeah.
found early on that it is very hard for me as a working mom to do both at the same time because I come out feeling guilty about one and inadequate on the other. And so
Yeah.
you can't always compartmentalize this, but I try to chunk out my time. I'm big into executive functioning. I schedule
Mhm.
everything. I try to have the support systems in place. And even if that means doing things in a kind of non-traditional way, doing things late at
Yep.
night,
Yep.
or working on a laptop from the soccer field, whatever I've got to do, I try to figure it out in a way that leaves me feeling okay coming out
Mhm.
because I learned again early on that I don't love just kind of constantly feeling like you're not giving
Yeah.
100%.
Anywhere.
So, and sometimes that means saying no. I'm not the
Yeah.
greatest at that,
Yeah.
but I've been practicing that more and more.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. It is picking your yeses and your nos. It frees up the space for the right yeses. And it's the no is really important and figuring out, okay, where's the line and how do I choose this? And I agree that like I've figured out it's better for all of us. It might not look like the typical person's work week, right? But it's better for all of us for me to be able to pick up at 3:30, have that time in the car with my daughter to find out, okay, how was your day? Tell me about it. And to be there for her if she needs me emotionally or whatever. And some days it might also look like, oh, there's a last minute thing. I need to take this call from the car. It just might there just might be some of that give and take that has to happen, and it's okay, but it works out, right? And it's fun to
Yeah.
bring our kids into the business a little bit. so they can see like, okay, here's mommy's responsibilities. This is what I've signed up for. And that's what this means. This is why we have the home that we have. We pay for the electricity, explaining some of those things is such a good foundation and good opportunity for our kids.
I agree. And I like how you said just doing things differently. And it's different for each of us. So,
Yeah.
I've always said to moms who write in and DM me, like, how do you do it? My how is going to be different than your how.
Mhm.
So, as an example, I have a teenager. Most of them in the neighborhood take the bus. I drive mine at 6 something in the morning every
Yeah.
day because it's like my 15 minutes of
Mhm.
quality teenage time. So,
Yes.
I've preserved that because at the end of the
Love
day,
it.
when she gets home, I have to say, this is my work time. So it's
Yep.
just every person has to figure out what it is that's going to make them feel good that they can sleep well at night
Yeah.
about both. But I agree,
Yeah.
we are incredible role models for our
Yeah.
kids. And
Yeah.
they do love to be involved in it. My kids like to pack
Mhm.
boxes.
Yes.
My teenager was with me at that community event on Saturday,
Oh,
handing out information. Like they love being a part of it,
love
however
it.
they can.
Yeah. I love when my daughter says, "Mommy, I want to work with you someday." I'm like, "Yes."
Yes.
This makes me so happy. She doesn't look at it. My hope is she doesn't look at it, in a negative light and that it's positive and she's also excited about it. Or it doesn't have any, there's nothing toxic about mommy and working. I want it to be a positive experience. So,
You know what? We were talking in the beginning about kind of where I came from. Here I
yeah.
had two parents who were working these incredibly demanding jobs.
Oh, yeah.
All I can tell you is how incredibly inspired I was to use that to grow my own career
Mm,
and how I feel so loved and what I
yeah.
admired about it. Like, and both of them were working to the bone. And
Yes.
all I have in my mind is just these incredible happy thoughts
Yeah.
and just seeing them as like my heroes. And so I
Mm,
think if you look at that and say they're going to be fine on the
yeah.
other side.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. There could be some days where it's hard to swallow that pill, but that's great for growth. That is so great for growth. And then on the other side of it's like, wow, they put in the work. When they're adults, they're gonna hopefully continue to admire it like we do our own parents. So
I agree.
fingers crossed. Well, tell me, what's been the most rewarding part of being an entrepreneur and a business owner?
I would say it's the people that write in and say, I would have quit my breastfeeding journey if it hadn't been for your
Mm,
product or that kind word that you or a member of your team sent my way. I
mm,
think first and foremost, it's that kind of feedback. It always takes us off guard. Again, we know we're
yeah.
doing good stuff, and we've been doing it for a long time, but it's sort of shocking still how a product or what you say on a social platform of support or love or just like a really nice positive customer service interaction can
Yeah.
like actually mean the difference to someone and how they like make their life choices and whether they can continue to meet their goals. That blows me away every single time. And then
Mhm.
second to that, there is nothing cooler being a product business than walking through the airport and seeing people walk around with your product. Like it's
Oh
just
my
finding it in
gosh,
the
yeah.
wild is the neatest thing. And I go up to
I bet.
everybody
Yes.
and people are always really shocked and it's always like a very awkwardly awesome interaction. But
That's
it's
my
just
bag.
it's really cool. At that community event on Saturday, there was a mom running around, another mom
Mm.
chasing her kiddo with the backpack on and didn't even see the booth. I had to come out of like the
Oh my
booth to
gosh.
go chase her down. And
Yeah.
I just thought, how cool that I'm not only seeing it in the wild, but I'm seeing how it's carrying the load, how it
Mhm.
enabled her to come to this event today because her pump and everything she
Yeah.
needs is in there. It's just the
Yeah.
coolest.
That is cool. It's such a pinch me like, oh, this
Yeah.
is so worth it. So, what is one thing, this is my final question I like to ask all guests, but what's one thing you wish you knew when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
Ooh, there's a lot of technical things that I wish I knew.
Yeah.
I think you should remember I'm a relationship person, and you should remember that relationships always carry you through every part of your business, even things you wouldn't necessarily think are relational. I'll give you an example. I needed funding a couple years into my business because it was scaling really, really fast. And I
Mhm.
didn't realize that while you can just walk into a bank or apply to an online loan and get something, maybe if you have good credit, if you have some collateral in the business, what's really going to help you scale your business is those relationships. So I think something I would share with other entrepreneurs is even when you don't need something, start laying the groundwork for
Yeah.
telling people about what you do. So what I mean by that is going in your community bank and introducing yourself and saying,
Yeah.
I'm not at the point where I need a line of credit for inventory or for capital improvements, but I might someday. And I'd love to
Hmm.
know who you are and tell you about who I am. And I think you could extrapolate that for any other aspect of running your business. So
Yeah.
relationships come easy on the mission side, but you might
Hmm.
not realize how critically important they will be on all of these more technical
Yes.
sides. And I learned that as I went, and I would impart that on other folks. So don't hesitate to put yourself out there. And one of the things I found is everybody's really excited about new businesses. It's
Yeah,
exciting to see
it is.
entrepreneurs with big ideas that are going to make a difference in the community. And so don't feel that imposter syndrome that I mentioned. Like just work beyond that and go in and make the introduction. And later on, it might really pay off for you when you need it most.
Yeah, nobody's given that advice, and I think that is probably one of my favorite ones. I think it's so important. I think the aspect about it, the fact that it might not you might not look at this relationship as something that's gonna benefit you today, but it could very well in the future, and why not take advantage of that for sure. I think that's brilliant. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, even as another example outside of banking, I made a point early on to get to know even like our carriers. So, like UPS,
Mm,
FedEx, all of
yeah,
those, like really well, both locally here and also the regional divisions. I introduced myself. I wrote them emails.
nice.
I would send notes when the carriers would help do something amazing, like went out of their way. In the middle of the
Awesome.
pandemic, I opened up an envelope. One of those carriers sent me a check just to help me get through tough times because of what I had poured into that relationship over those years,
Wow.
which was incredible. I
Sarah.
didn't ask for it. I didn't need,
Yeah.
yeah, I, what
Wow.
relationships come back around. And
Yeah.
so, and you, again, you can call on people when you need them in the moment, but it's going to go a
Mhm.
lot further for you if you have set that groundwork and really given people that two-way communication about who you are in the community. And you'll find there's a lot of really cool aspects, of the ecosystem for entrepreneurs in the community that do care.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. I think that one of my favorite things about owning my own business has been this new community that I had that I never had when I worked in the corporate world. There's something different about just, oh, you're a business owner too. Okay, you get it. You get me, There's something to be said that matters. And then when you go the step further to just cultivate a relationship that might not, like, people just don't take the time to do it anymore. And so when you see that, it's like it's so impactful. It's so impactful.
Absolutely. And I recognize, again, we were talking about juggling with motherhood. There's a lot to do as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It can just really be an email. Send feedback
Yeah,
to
yeah,
someone. Send a quick
yeah.
introduction. I love LinkedIn for this reason. Find your
Mhm.
business bankers, commercial bankers for all the little banks like located
Yep.
around you. Connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a quick note, introduce yourself. I'm local to you.
Yeah,
You could do the same with your policymakers in your community. They
yeah.
love to go and learn about businesses that are in their own community. Sometimes they like to
Mhm.
even come on site maybe and get to
Yeah.
see what you're doing and then do a write up about it. And then you don't know where these relationships will grow and grow. So
Mhm.
even if you don't need them now, get out there and make the introduction.
Yeah, love it. Okay, Sarah, so where can people find you if they want to shop your bags, your accessories? Where can they go? And then also just professionally, if they want to get in touch with you, how can they reach out?
Absolutely. So we're at sarahwellsbags.com, also on Amazon and a bunch of other retail platforms. You can find us on all the social channels, Sarah Wells Bags. And for me personally and professionally, come out to LinkedIn. That's
Love
the
it.
hot place to connect professionally with me right now.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you. Your stories, you're so inspirational. I cannot wait for people to hear this. I'm sure those that have listened to this point are going to be super inspired by you. I know I am. I'm gonna have a pep in my step for the rest of the weekend. So I appreciate you just sitting here with me today.
Thank you again so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Entrepreneur's Blueprint. I hope you found inspiration and insights to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. If you're looking for support in building or scaling your business profitably, visit my website or send me an email to learn more about how I help mission-driven businesses become more profitable, proactive, and efficient. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really helps other entrepreneurs discover the show, and it would mean so much to me as well. Until next time, keep building, keep dreaming, and keep going.